Hello everybody, welcome to the Daily Sip. My name is Oliver and my mission is to bring you closer to organic Japanese green tea. And today what we're going to dive into is why actually the cold brew is sweeter and what the difference is when we go in the taste between a cold brewed Gyokuro and a hot brewed Gyokuro. So for this, what I prepared already here just a half an hour ago is a Gyokuro, which is here cold brewing in this French press. So this is on the one hand what I prepared, and on the other hand I brought my Kyushu. I brought 5 grams of a beautiful Gyokuro, so you can see the very dark black leaves. So very nice shaded teas, 21 days shaded, this one here from the south of Japan. And I really want to see why actually, or first explain you a little bit why the taste is different and why the cold brew is normally a sweeter tea, and then really see what the taste difference is respective on this tea. So when you're brewing a green tea, some people, they have the experience that the green tea gets a little bit bitter, astringent, it's unpleasant to drink. And this can come from the catechins which are in the tea. There are some teas that have more and some teas they have less. And the less teas, or the teas which actually have less of these catechins or not as dominant in catechins, are the shaded teas. And the super example of a long shaded tea is the Gyokuro, also known as the Emperor's tea. This tea actually has a shading process or shading days of 21 days. So these are the 21 days just before the harvest. Only matcha has only as a long shading time than the Gyokuro. So in terms of leaf tea, it is the longest shaded, thus the sweetest tea. And therefore also the Gyokuro is an extremely good tea if you want to do a very sweet and flavorful cold brew. And that's why I used it for the cold brew for today. On the other hand, it's also an excellent tea which you can brew just hot. Hot meaning that you're going around 60 degrees Celsius, which is around 140 Fahrenheit. This is the perfect temperature for this tea, and you will see that it will give you a very beautiful, also a sweet tea, but there are a little bit of more flavor profiles coming into. And the bitterness is then defined mainly by the catechins. And the catechins are also known to extract more when you're going up with the temperature. For example, when you go up with a sencha, you can go to 70 or 80 degrees Celsius, so around 160 until 175 Fahrenheit. There you're starting really to extract more and more kind of these fresher tones. Sometimes it can be a little bit of citrusy tone, but there are this slight astringency which comes in more and more, and as soon as you go up you start to burn and stress the tea and your brew becomes very astringent. And on the other hand, when we go into the cold brew, we know that with the cold brewing method, these catechins, they go out much slower, and mainly the theanine. So this is an amino acid which is in the green tea, and green tea is one of the richest plant or the richest also drinks in terms of theanine. There you have a lot of extraction of theanine because theanine extracts at any temperature, so it extracts much faster with the cold brew and the catechins much slower. And that's why you will have the experience when you already lower the temperature of your brew, of your tea, then you already have a sweeter tea, and when you then cold brew it, you get even a more sweet tea. So this is an excellent thing also to do when you have a little bit more of a bitter tea or an astringent tea and you don't like it too much. Maybe just try to cold brew it, and then you will see that the flavor profile of the tea completely changes and it really moves away from this astringent taste profiles. So now we have brewed this for half an hour, a little bit more now. We can actually start to enjoy this tea. What we often suggest is around 1 hour, then you will have a beautiful tea, but with the Gyokuro you can already, after half an hour, you can use this. And that's what I will do with this one here. So I just have to be careful because I used a lot of water. And voila, perfect. And you can see now I push down the leaves with the French press, very beautiful. And you can see the liquor, it's kind of a little bit cloudy, very beautiful. So you will see that with the cold brewing, the intensity in the green is not as high. And now also let's go into the brewing of the tea. So I use 5 grams. I preheated my water here to 60 degrees, 140 Fahrenheit, and I just gonna leave it in for 2 minutes. So good, then just put back on the lid, and maybe I can already pour the gyokuro. I can also leave just the water in the French press. You should take everything out when you do a hot brew, but as you're cold brewing, it's much a smoother brew. It's much more delicate to the leaves, so you can leave it actually in, and you can also leave the cold brew during the whole night and you can just enjoy it in the morning. This is also a very well and easy way to just brew your tea, so there's no need to just take it out the same day. You can also leave it overnight. It's such a tender and soft brewing to your leaves and the soft extraction of the flavor profile. And you can see it's really nice, a little bit of a milky tone, a little bit of a brighter, beautiful kind of cloudy tea, which will be then very, very sweet. Good, we are getting closer to these 2 minutes, so let's see, the 5 grams are already very closely done. So then we just gonna enjoy this tea here. Good. And maybe just wait some more seconds and we're fine. Good. Perfect. Take out or bring out all the water. Very important, when you hot brew, you have to get out all of the water that you have. You don't get any after brewing of the tea. Just open up the lid a little bit and you can already see how different the color of these two teas are. So this is the hot brewing, this is cold brewing, very, very different already in color of the brewing itself. But now I want to go and see what the tasting is like. First, cold brew. It's very beautiful, sweet, round, refreshing. Get a little bit of cucumbers. I get a little bit of fruits of, I would say, mango, pineapple. Very smooth, very soft and very refreshing, also due to the fact that it is cold. Now let's go to the hot brewing. So I got much more. I also have these beautiful sweet tones with it, and I brewed it with a low temperature, so it's perfect temperature for this tea. But I have much more umami, and there's a little bit more of the citrusy tones, a little bit of more of an acidity to the tea as well. Meanwhile, here I'm really on a refreshing, kind of smooth, round and sweet tone. I get a lot of this cucumber, kind of nearly fresh, a little bit spinachy, but very smooth, very soft to my palate. And here I also get this fruitiness, but it's much more on a savory taste profile. So we got much more of the savoriness also, which is extracted. And also what we get is a little bit these fresher tones, a little bit this more acidity, kind of more acidic tones to it. It's still very soft, it's very round and very sweet. But if you really want to have a very soft tea, just try it out once with the cold brew and you will be astonished how fine the notes and how refreshing the notes and how strong just the sweetness or even the fruity tones of a tea can be. Meanwhile, when you go a little bit into the hotter brewing, you get a little bit of this acidity, you get a little bit of this astringency, but it's not kind of disturbing. It just adds beautifully to the tea. just changes the tea, makes it very different, makes it on the one hand very, very sweet in the beginning, but then you have more of this savory and you have more of this a little bit acidity, refreshing kind of citrusy flavor profile, which just adds another layer to it and makes the tea very different when you enjoy it. So these are teas, it's the same tea but just brewed in a different way, and you get a different mouthfeel and you get a different kind of taste sensation with different layers of taste, kind of taste parts, or you could say taste notes. So very interesting. So if you ever have the chance to do it and you want to brew the tea a little bit different, you want to get to know another part of your tea, really try to do it once with a cold brew and compare it then to the hot brew, and you will be surprised how different the same tea can taste. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you like this too, and if you ever have a question, feel free to ask me. Please just leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe, and get in touch with us on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want to. We will be happy to answer any question for you. So thanks a lot for watching, and see you, and bye bye.